biggest pet peeves is when you're trying to build yourself a color palette or whatever, and you've kind of picked out some of your pens, but then you need them in different sizes and you don't know which colors match. So that is what we're trying to do today, finding proper color matches across my pens. Will we get through all of them? Probably not. I have quite a few. You can see I'm currently holding the Ohuhu ones because I thought maybe we would start with those because this is my biggest collection of pens. We've got 160 in this set, so I thought it might be good to start by putting them on the paper first. But that meant I had to organize them into color families, so yeah, this is what I'm dealing with now. Hello, welcome, it is a pleasure to have you here. If you're doing pen swatching with me, awesome. If you're doing something else, that's cool. You let me know. What are you up to? Let's keep each other company and get some stuff done. So I've decided that we are going to do... Gosh, careful. We're going to do this pen testing in my everyday journal, which isn't really typical for us. Typically, if we're going to do pen swatching, we do it in my long-term collections journal, which is this guy here. And we'd normally do the pen swatching at the back in sets, usually. So we've got like the Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liners, Caran markers, acrylographs, Tombos, whatever else. Earlier this year, we were doing some swatches by color, so like all of the grayscale pens together, all of the browns, all of the pinks, all of the purples. These have been super helpful, but because I go through and do them in sets, you still don't have a very good lineup of which pens match with other pens. Like at a glance here, we can kind of see that Tombow 685 matches the STF. STF. When you use codes and then you can't even remember what they were. I know it's something. STF. Oh well. In my mind, that's the Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liner. That makes sense. STF. So like the Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liner 61, the Tombow 685 kind of matches, and then the Crayola Super Tip 74, that's just a number that I've given it. It's not, calm down. It's not actually a number that is, you know, the pen number. It's just one that I decided to write on the barrel of the pen so that I had some way to distinguish between them. But when you're building yourself a color palette, when you're building out some kind of like, you know, theme for your layouts or whatever else, sometimes it pays to have different pen types in the same color. So for instance, the Ohuhu ones, they've got a brush tip on one side, and then on the other end, they have a fine liner, which is really great, very, very helpful for that. But if you're using something like the Tombos have a brush tip on one end and then a bullet tip on the other, which is a little bit hard for writing things that are quite small. Alrighty, I already see somebody mentioning that they've got Ohuhu on their wish list for Black Friday. Love it. If you want, we do have a code for that. I believe it is Jashie10 for 10% off. I will confirm that at some stage, but yeah, yay for savings. We love savings. Anywho. So rather than going in and putting it straight into my long-term collections journal, I'm going to be doing these kind of trial runs in here instead. Normally, I would just do it on some kind of like scrap paper or whatever, but because I want to keep it a little bit organized, I figured putting it in my journal was the best bet. Yes. So, like we talked about, the Ohuhus I have the most pens for. We have 160 in this range, so I thought that putting them down first would be a good idea. I'm not sure how to divvy up the page to get 160 pens in though. So we've got 16 and a half down. So that'd be 10 columns. Oh, okay. 10 columns across would be... Yeah, if you do a centimeter per and then a break, then you're going to get plenty. It's just actually then trying to find the pen matches between them because I want to be able to put those on the page as well. It might be the kind of thing that we put the Ohuhu ones down and then we put the other ones on separate pieces of paper and then like bring it closer and try and find a match. Have I swatched them in the long-term collections journal? Alas, I have not, mainly because I know that I want to get them into a pen color order before I do that. Like today, all I've done is section them into kind of color families, but when I go through and I build like a rainbow, I tend to try and put them in an order that's kind of like more definitive, if that makes sense. Something that really kind of blends from one color hue to another quite well, but I haven't done that yet for these ones. So I figured we'd just go through, we'd put them down on the paper as a starting point, and then we can kind of think about which other pen colors might match better. Because the nice part is that for all of my other pen sets, pretty much, I do have swatches in the long-term collections journal. For the Tombos in particular, I also have a flip out because I use it so often. So these ones are already here in the front, and they're also in the back on that last page here. But you can see this one's a little bit harder to turn to. It kind of gets like static electricity to the back page, and I often turn to the acrylographs instead, which is why I decided to put one in the front as well. But yeah, so we'll swatch the Ohuhus first, then we'll come back and have a look through and see what color matches we can do between different types of pens. The one in particular that I probably want to match the most would be the Ohuhus versus the Tombos versus the dot pens. That's probably my preference. Alrighty, let's see. We have some more questions. Love questions. Okay. So, have you used the Zebra Mildliners? Are they any good? They are a very good pen. I do have them. I have used them previously. So, we've got a chisel tip on one end for those. And then on the other end, you've got a bullet tip. I don't often use them only because of how I like to use my colored pens. Typically, I like things for coloring in, so usually a brush marker is better. I have not used the Zebra Mildliner brush pens though. I'm very curious about them, so maybe that'll be a someday maybe purchase for myself. So we're gonna do some swatching. We're gonna tilt the notebook so that this is easier, and we're just gonna put these in. Okay. So you can kind of see that on the barrel of the pen here, we do have a pen color number. So this is 96. For our reds, we've got number 1, number 2, number 155, 25, 57, 24. So they're not really in any kind of a set kind of range of numbers. For instance, when you do the Tombos, typically the first number of the 3 number code is kind of an identifier for which color family it should sit in. We don't have that with these ones. So I might just put them in number order. 1, 2, 24, and 25. 155 should probably go last. 96 should go here. 57 can go there. Just as some kind of, helpful starting point, rather than me trying to figure out what they're going to look like on the page, because, yeah, as we've got here, best of luck, the Ohuhu lids don't match the pens a lot of the time, which is why it's important to actually put them down on the paper. And this is why I didn't want to have to go in and put them down before I put them in my long-term collections journal before I've actually swatched them out. So, yeah, fair. So we're going to just put these down, and I figured that if I put them in, ooh, nice red. If I put them in number order, then I can write a number beside them, so I know what they are after the fact. And I'm just going to write that number in with just a regular pen, because it'll be a little easier. Ooh, yeah. That is quite different. I can see where they get the kind of like fluoro red-ish from in that, but yeah. I need to make sure that I keep track of where I am in my lineup. There we go, that's like a scarlety kind of color. And we've got, yeah, more orange than it is red. A darker red color. And, oof, nice punchy red. Okay, so now as we've got them on the paper, we can write down what they are. So we've got number 1, number 2, number 24, number 25, number 57, 96, and 155. Now before we move on to orange, because that's where I would go to next, Reggie Biv kind of a thing, I would like to just check my box, because I didn't actually manage to sort them all out into pens before you guys got here. Because I decided to do this about 10 minutes before the stream started. Of course, because that is how I live my life. So, just to make sure we do not have any more reds in here, because there is a very high chance that we do. Is there a nice place to tip this out? Absolutely not. If you're wondering, it's this box here that has all of the pens in it. I feel like I'm going to need to get a different storage solution for these pens, because having them in the box is not necessarily my favorite. It's a very nice box, and I'm a sucker for a nice box, which is a problem as well. But I think in terms of actually being able to access the pens and use them on a regular basis, probably not a great idea. You have a hack for your pen label markers? Alrighty, let's see. So, that tend to wipe off and use clear nail polish and put the polish over the numbers so it won't go away. Nice, that is a good tip. I know that, oh dear, the box fell down. I know that Monica has previously, like when she's had Tombos, I'm gonna drop these pens. She's put a piece of clear sellotape over the top of them, like we have, which you can't see, I apologize. I've got too many things in my hands. A piece of clear tape over the top of it here. You can kind of see maybe just see the reflective edge of it, so that then it's protected, because yeah, after a while they do rub off, and that can be problematic if you don't necessarily know what the numbers are. So put that back onto the focus, which it should be. So you can see that these are the pens that didn't make it out of the box. They are not just all browns though, so I want to make sure that we don't have any reds in here. I mean, this one kind of is red-ish, so we'll put you there. This one is distinctly pink, so we'll put that into the pink pile. Over there, we've got a green, which is in the green pile. We've got 3 purples. This one's kind of a blue-grey. I might put that with the greys. And then the rest are kind of brown colours. So, grey, 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 which kind of looks silver. It's like got a metallic sheen on it, which is interesting. Blue, grey. You're kind of blue. I'll put you in blue. And then the rest of those are browns. Greys, black, green, brown, so I'll put you in green. You're green enough. And then the kind of beigey, peachy colors. When I get to the brown section, I will probably go through and section them out a little bit different. But for now, it's good to see that all of these are the brown pens, so they can go to the side as brown pens. You're kind of yellow. I'll put you in yellow. This is the problem. Without swatching them and just relying on the cap colors, there is a very good chance that I get things wrong, but that's okay. That's why we're doing it in here and not in the long-term collections journal, where I would like it to be a little bit better. There we go. You say 17 is a berry red. Alrighty. I'll believe you. I believe you for that. Let's see. How would you rate a chisel tip instead of a brush tip? It really depends on what you want to use it for. So because I don't typically do a lot of highlighting and stuff like that, I don't find the chisel tip to be as useful. I also find that the chisel tip on a mild liner isn't as wide as the dot grid box, so I don't typically like to use it for any kind of like second line highlighting and stuff like that. I find that I can get a nicer finish with a brush marker. By every second line highlighting, if we just flip back so we can find one where I've done that, you can see this guy here. It's very faint, but maybe this one instead. You can see that every second line in this is highlighted both vertically and horizontally. I like to do that with a brush marker because I find that actually having it wide enough to sit inside the dot grid boxes or like the gap is just a little easier. But I do know a lot of people really like the mild liners. They're just not for me specifically, if that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Was there no swatch card in the box? It's not 100% accurate, but it's better than the pen lids. There is a swatch card. Is it colored in? Let's see. I didn't actually get it out last time because I didn't realize it was in there. Because we had a look at these guys last year. It's not quite that far ago. So these are the ones that you can swatch yourself. And these are the ones that they give you. I'm like, okay, well number 2 is like much more vibrant on the page than it is on this. Let's see if I can bring this up for you guys so you can see what I see. Yeah, you see like number 2 there is much more punchy on the page than it is darker on the little card here. And then if we look at 24, you can see where they're going for, but 25 looks completely different in my mind. Yeah. So just looking at this card makes me anxious because I just like it when my pens are in a nicer color order. Yeah, I mean, you'd say that it's more vibrant on the card. I think that it's actually more vibrant on the paper, or at least it feels like the saturation on the paper and the brightness on the paper is different. But anywho, we'll put that to the side. That one's a not right now me problem. I feel like I should probably be filling in these cards as I go, but I'm not going to. So, reds are done. Reds are looking cute. We need to number this guy here as 17 so that we've got that written down. And then we need to get into orange. So, the red cheeky boys can go away. We'll just put them back into the box. Carefully back into the box. Carefully. See, okay. I love this box. It is a very nice box. I don't like this type of a lid because the box keeps trying to flip itself over when there's nothing in it. Like, when things are in the box, it's not a problem. But as soon as I take everything out, it's just like, oh yeah, I don't want to be upright anymore. I want to be a flatlander now. So we'll roll our orange pens over and we'll get them into a number order. So 152, distinctly going towards the back. 26, 28, number 3, 27, 41, 112, 42, 124, oh my goy, 124, 39. I apologize if you're trying to do something right now and you're like, Jess, just stop spouting off numbers. Like, I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to count my boxes. All right, so 101, 112, 142, 124, and 152. Okay, so that's the order. That's the thing. I might write the numbers down while all of the pens are sitting here looking pretty, and then go and swatch them beside the correct number. I think that might work a little bit easier for me, because then as I swatch them, I can just put the pen away. Working smarter, not harder. Let's see. Yeah, the card is a nightmare of anxiety. Yeah. Let's see. It's sad to know that their newer packaging, the older one is nice zipped up carrier bag thing. Yeah, I've seen some of the carrier bag ones which look really cute. I might need to get something like that for myself, but I do like it when I have pen storage, in particular where I've gone to the effort to actually put the pens in a true color order. I like to have a storage method which holds them in their place. Like, stay in your lane, pens. So for instance, the Tombow one, the Tombow dual brush marker storage carry case thing, that one, like, they all have their set places. I know where they go. I've got my swatch sheet set up so that it's like mimicking the order that they are in that case, and that just makes it easier for me to find the colors that I'm looking for. Whereas something like my Crayola Super Tips, which all just sit in this plastic bin, like, actually finding a color that I want specifically is a little bit more of a mission, which is probably part of the reason why I don't use them quite so often. One of those things, like, if you keep the things that you want to use the most accessible and easy to get the one you want, you are going to be more likely to use them. I feel like that's a lesson that I need to learn. It's one of those things like take your own advice kind of messages. 1, 2, 4, and then after 24, we've got 142 and 152. Gorge. Okay. I'm going to bring that box back so that as I swatch these, I can put the pen directly into the box so I don't have to worry about them just like rolling around on the desk, being a menace. Okay. Probably should have tilted my journal a little more before I did this. Okay. So, 3 is much more red than it is orange, so I'm glad that it got put there. 1, get out, 26. The cat makes it look super fluoro, but it's actually a really nice orange. That looks kind of like Tombow 933 from not actually having Tombow 933 here with us. This looks punchy. Yep, that is very much a fluoro pen. So that's 27. We have 28. Yeah, you look on Amazon, the 160th carry bag is listed as the newer model. Aww. Well, hey. I mean, if you're storing them on your desk and you're not as much of a persnickety biscuit as I am, the box is very nice. It is a nice box. I'd probably almost be inclined to cut the top off the box so it would just be open, But then if you're trying to take your pens around places with you and whatever, it might be a little bit precarious. You wouldn't want to take it in the car and then have the box flip over and then have all of your pens go whoopah. Okay, that doesn't match. This is fluoro red more than it is fluoro orange, but that's okay. That's why we're doing it in here. About 44. 101, which is more of a yellow than it is an orange, but that's okay too. Doesn't really matter. 112. Okay. 124. Then back away. That's another one that's very fluoro. It's a nice fluoro orange though. That one's more of a fluoro orange. That one's more of a fluoro red. And that one's more of a fluoro red as well. It's good that we've got some fluoro options. I know that fluoro is a color scheme that some people enjoy. It's not really my personal preference, but ooh, that's a nice orange too. Kind of a burnt kind of looking orange. Okay, so oranges are done. We can bring over our yellows and we'll do exactly the same thing. So just putting them in the order that makes the most sense. These two look exactly the same. What are you? Do you think maybe they just like forgot that they had a fluoro yellow and they're like, oh, we need a fluoro yellow? It's like, you already got one. What are you doing? It's probably going to be different when we actually swatch them, but it's kind of amusing to me. It's kind of like, does anybody here have the, okay, maybe. Does anybody here have the, not necessarily full range of acrylographs, but enough that you have a lot of colors that look super similar? Yeah. I have stopped purchasing acrylographs because I have come to the realization, finally, after much money spent, that I do not use paint pens. And part of coming to that realization is like, wow, I seem to like have a lot of, not necessarily double ups of colors, because they are technically different colors, but they're similar enough that I'm like, you fill the same need. I didn't really need another version of this pink. Like, yes, it is different, but it is not different enough to have warranted purchasing it again. Kind of makes sense? You know, it's one of those things that because they're not forever kind of sets, and by that I mean, like, you can't purchase them forever because they go out of stock and they don't bring them back because they're those kind of like seasonal releases. It does make sense in that respect to bring the colors out again that are similar, but as somebody who is a little bit of a collector and likes to have a full set of things, it does mean that I end up with a couple of duplicate-esque kind of colorways, but that's fine. It's alright, because I've come to the realization you don't use these, you don't need more of them. It's okay to not complete the set. But also, because I am a bit of a collector and because I do have this kind of push to collect the set, I have decided that I'm going to be giving away my acrylographs, or maybe selling them. I don't know. I'm probably just going to drop them into our local kind of craft group, whatever, and just be like, hey, I'm selling like 100 acrylographs for $30. Like, some used, some not. Like, I've got one there from the last time I purchased a collection, whatever collection it was. I can't remember which one it was. I think it might have been fall this year, possibly. I've still got them in the box. They haven't actually been activated yet. And that was part of the realization process. It's like, girl, you bought these, you did not even get them out of the box. So what is the point of buying more of these? But yeah, I wish I was the kind of person who liked paint pens, because I've seen people do very beautiful things with paint pens. I just don't like waiting for things to dry, and it's not that they even take that long to dry. It's the process of having to activate the pen and then put the pen down and then wait for it. It's like, I got things to do. I'm a busy lady. Or it's more like, the way that I like to journal is not compatible with those pens, if that makes sense. Because it's not to say that the people who use them aren't busy people too. It just means that they are making they are using the time, I suppose, in order to use the pens. And I am not willing to use that time. This is a 9, not a 2. What are you doing? 98, 106. And then we'll go up to the top for 113, and then we have 140, and then we have 143 and 144. Gorge. Let's see. Oof, you have to do some nasty chores. Well, it's nice that you can be here with us. You got this box after the last live. Nice. Also, tink, don't forget, hydration is important. Yeah, it's a little bit too high effort. Kind of makes sense. I completely understand that. Like, I can't get my words out. There we go. All right, we'll get all of our yellows down onto the paper. I also find that the problem that any pen set has is that it has to compete with my one true love, which is Tombows. So anytime I get a new pen, I'm like, I could use you, but I could also use Tombows. I think that the Ohuhus are a great option for anybody who, I mean, you know, obviously I already have Tombows, I have these, I'm not going to get rid of them. But if you don't already have Tombows and you want to get brush markers and you want a really good color range at a cheaper price point, then this is an excellent idea. Because these are nice pens. And they're a decent bit cheaper than Tombows. But if you've already got Tombows, the full set, you probably don't need these, but I mean, who is talking about need? No. Okay, that's not yellow, that's green. I mean, that's probably a me problem, because it's kind of a green pen, but that does not. On camera, it matches better than it does in person, to be completely honest. But yeah. If you already have Tombows, you probably don't need these, but if you do not have Tombows and you're just getting into brush markers, or you just want a like really good, expansive color palette, then these are a great option. Also in particular, if you want to get yourself one that has fine liner capabilities too, so rather than having to buy something like the Tombows and then the Staedtler Tri Plus fine liners or some other kind of colored fine liner, these guys have, you know, one and done. It's got both, which is quite nifty. I like to see which kind of combinations pen companies go with in terms of their dual brush markers or like dual-ended markers, because obviously these ones have a brush and a fluoro. These ones have a brush and a fine liner, but then you've got things like the mild liner, which have the chisel tip and the bullet, and then the Tombows, which have the brush and the bullet, which is just interesting to see how they combine them. Alrighty. Yeah, we need a law that pen caps have to match the ink. That'd be really nice, eh? To answer your question, Carolyn, this is the Ohuhu brush marker set. In particular, I have the Maui series. You can like not see it, it is blurry. But this is the set that has the fine liner on one end and the brush tip on the other end. Whereas I think some of their other ones are just a brush marker. Depends on which collection you get. All right, we are getting into the realm of green, which of course, if you've been here for a second, you know that Jess has an issue with green, and that sometimes it's green and sometimes it's teal, and she doesn't necessarily know which one to put it in. So this time around, she's done the smart. She's thought ahead. Stop moving, we're talking here. She's thought ahead, and she has put the teals aside as their own kind of transitional color, hopefully so that these ones are more like green, and then those ones are the blue-greens. That's what I'm hoping. Inspired you to start a long-term collections journal? Yay! I love my long-term collections journal. I love not having to transfer collections or go back and remember which journal things are in. So having a long-term collections is a very peace-inducing and time-saving thing for me, and I hope that ends up being the same for you. So we're gonna put these down. 122 is probably around here. 121, that makes sense. 135 is even further over. 123, 122, 123, 66, 63, 59, 73, 154. I was like, wow, that's a high number. I'm like, Jess, you know there are 160 pens here. Like, of course there are going to be numbers that are that high. Good job, me. All right. 157, 67, 70, The green range is always the one that you get the most colors in. I mean, it's not always, but very often is the one you get the most colors in because we see green better. So we get to see lots and lots of greens in our pen collections because there's quite a range of them. It's also like you get into the realm of like the blue greens, which are one of my, issue points, but you also get into the realm of like the brown greens as well, and it's like, are you more brown or are you more green? Which one should you go with? Je ne sais pas. Alrighty, let's put you in there, my friend. 68. We've got a lot of pen numbers that are quite similar. You can kind of see that they went ham on the green range. Yeah. So we're going to have a lot of pen colors that are kind of in the same number range. 73, then we jump to 99. This guy is 146. And this one is 62. There we go. Okay, so this is our little green range. We can rotate all the pens so that we can see their numbers and write the numbers down first. Because smarter, not harder. There we go, there we go, there we go. It's going to be fun when I then have to do this in my long-term collections journal as well, but I stand by this decision to put them in here instead. So while we go through, because obviously I have certain pen sets and the entire point here is that I'm trying to find color matches between them, what pens in particular would you want to find out what the color matches were? I know that I have my preferences. Like I said, that I want to do Ohuhu's Tombos and the Zig Clean Color dot markers in particular. But at some point, I'd probably also like to do them with the Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liners, maybe the Papermate Flair pens, that kind of thing. But which pen sets do you guys have that you would like to see a color match for? Because, if we've got the same pens, then we'll start with those ones, kind of a thing. But I might need to go shopping. I might need to buy more pens. I definitely do not need to buy more pens. But I will take your enabling if you give it to me. Alrighty, 66. Where is 65? 65. You probably ended up in the teals if you're looking that way. Alrighty, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 68. 69, 70, 72, 73, and then just casually jump up to 99, 115, 121, 122, 123, 135, 145, 46, 54 and 57. 157. Excellent. Alrighty, so Ohuhu and Stabilo Tri-Plus fine liner. The Stabilo ones, because Tri-Plus is a Staedtler brand one. So do you mean Staedtler Tri-Plus or do you mean the Stabilo fine liners? Because I think those are different. 65 is definitely in the line of green and teal. Alrighty, well that's good to know because I probably just put it in little teal fam. Ooh, pretty green. Pretty green. Does you match the cap? No, but you're still pretty. Alrighty. Little, maybe a khaki kind of thing? Kinda-ish. Kinda-ish. I feel like I need to have put this box in a place that's a little more accessible because it's kind of behind me, so it's this awkward... It's not even that awkward, but it's awkward enough that it's not got me in a good state of flow for doing these pens, so maybe I'll just like chuck them to the side. Do them all at once. We're task batching here so that we can get through this swatching in a timely fashion. You just watch the pens just roll away. The Stabilo ones are the hexagonal ones. Yeah, they usually have a yellow barrel. That's a question. I don't actually know. They might be octagonal. Because I used to have the Stabilo ones in the way back whens. Not many of them, just a couple. And I think it was one of those like really short sets that you'd get in like a twist jar kind of a thing. It was not very fancy. But because I then got the Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liners and they had a longer barrel that was a lot nicer to write with, I think I got rid of those little Stabilo ones. But as said, that was like a Stabilo mini set. It wasn't the kind of proper Stabilo pens. So if any Stabilo lovers are out there like, oh my god, she's shitting on my pens, how dare she? Just know, I'm not. I was talking about a different, more budget-friendly option, because you get like half a pen. Let's see. So, go through. Finicky about colour matching and need to re-swatch. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things that it's not even necessarily that the formula has changed sometimes. It's just that as your pens get older, that went a little bit long, but that's okay. They kind of subdue in their color as they run out of ink, and then you get a new one and you're like, okay, you're actually a lot more punchy than the one I did have. So, how long are these Ohuhu markers? Good question. Alrighty. Let's go find a ruler, which is around here somewhere. So, in accordance with this ruler, the pen is 16 centimeters long, which you can maybe just see. Yeah, 16 centimeters long. So, comparing that to something like a Tombow, which is 18 and a half-ish, nope, more like 18, 19, 18.9 centimeters long. Yeah, they are distinctly shorter than a Tombow is. So they're going to be a lot easier to fit into a pencil case, which is nice. Tombows, I love you, but calm down. You're too long. But also, I love you, so never change. Right. Put these guys away into our container, which is starting to look very satisfying. I want to show you, but I don't want them to fall out. So we're going to see if I can do this in a way that doesn't ruin my life. Not that pens falling over is really that big of a deal, but you can maybe see this little color range that we're building up here as we build out the pens. It's very satisfying. But I also know that all of the pens aren't actually going to fit in the box that way aligned, because as you can kind of see, the this end of the pen is wider than the other end. I'll get two of them so you can kind of tell. See that? The thicker at one end, which means when you stack them all the same way, the top here all kind of butts against each other, and then the bottom is kind of like loosely hanging because it is not as wide. So here is the teal range, the ones that are kind of green but also kind of blue, so it would just be easier to put them in their own little space together as that kind of beautiful transition from green to blue. But having said that, now as we're going to put them in the number order, that might not necessarily happen, but we'll put them out and we'll see what it looks like. Good question about how long they last. I can't tell you because I've only just recently gotten the Ohuhus, but for Tombows last a good long while, especially if you treat them right. I mean, you know, most things last a while if you treat them right. But I've found that my favourite Tombows will have a tendency to need replacing on a more regular basis, which makes sense because the more you use something, the faster it runs out. So there are some of my Tombows that, since having purchased them back in like the end of 2016, I haven't had to replace because I just don't use those colours. But there are others that I've had to replace a couple of times. Not like huge amounts, but a couple of times. So 159, 150, 81. You're 130 something, so you need to come up here. I don't like that. You don't look like you belong up here. That's fine. 149. I'm doing a terrible job of this. Let's see. You are 60, 65... 71, 75, 79, 81, 81, 90, 114, 116, 100, so you need to go there, 134, 149, 150, 159. Okay. It looked better before, but this is what it is now. Have you ever tried to revive a Tombow by adding water to the barrel? No, because, well, like... Yes, but the only other times that I've tried it, it hasn't really worked out. I feel like there's probably a technique to it that I am not savvy with. Yeah, I find that often if I try and add any water to the pen, it just kind of subdues the color even more, and then the pen's just kind of wet. So I feel like there's probably some kind of technique that I just don't really know how to do. But yeah. Alright, so putting our numbers down. 60. Copic markers let you refill them, the alcohol ones, that's cool. 60 and 65, 71, 75, 79, 81, and 90. I will also say that we are going to take a quick break, not right now, but after we've finished swatching these for the first time, take a quick break to announce the winner of our giveaway from last week. So, which I haven't drawn yet. We're going to draw it together. It's going to be a very good time. So if you have not entered last week's giveaway, both the ones on Instagram and the one on YouTube, then you should consider doing so. Unless you don't like to win things. Like, I mean, that's cool too. It's fine. But we will be drawing that. The winners from that. We have 3 winners. So 2 on the Instagram giveaway and 1 on the YouTube giveaway. The YouTube giveaway is from Stationery Pal. And the Instagram one is from Typhosi. Let's see, how's the bleed through and ghosting? On the Archer and Olive paper, looks fine to me. Maybe a small amount of ghosting, but that might just be because the page isn't actually down properly. I don't really want to fold the page, but I can't flip it off camera because that doesn't really help. So it doesn't look any different from a Tombow to me, but it probably would require more testing. How do you enter? Great question. So if you want to enter the one on YouTube, you just need to go to last week's stream video. It's the one where we unboxed a bunch of stationery, and you need to comment with a purple heart. Doesn't need to have anything else in the comment, just needs to have a purple heart in the comment, but you can put other things in there if you want to. I'm not opposed. And then if you want to enter on Instagram, it is my last post on Instagram, like my most recent one, and you just need to follow the people. Obviously, you need to follow the people. And then comment with which colorway of the journal you want. Yeah. There are more details about entering the Instagram one actually on the Instagram post, which is kind of nice. The ones for entering the giveaway for the Stationery Pal one is more like in the video. So just to recap that one, you have to comment on the video with a purple heart. Doesn't have to have anything else in it, but it does need to have a purple heart. And you need to make sure that you are subscribed to both Stationery Pal and myself on YouTube, which makes sense because, well, you've got to be part of the team, you know, a subscriber team, not like team with a capital T. And also, if it's going to be for Stationery Pal, they probably want to get something out of it, so they want your subscription. There we go. In terms of the price point of these pens, I think that, yep, Hext Library has told us it is $49 US on Amazon at the moment. So that's nice to know. Which my code JASHI10, I think it's JASHI10, that one doesn't apply on Amazon, but it does apply on their website. Ooh, that went a little bit funny. There we go. You are much more blue than you are green. You're pretty though, and I think I know which pen color you match in terms of Tombows. And you are a lot brighter than I thought you were going to be, but hey, at least we're getting into the range of blues because dang, blue. Not as teal as the cat would have us believe. But these ones can go back into the box. We need to get the blues out. Blues are usually another color family that we get a lot of pens into, so... Whee. Oh, excellent. A 20% off coupon for the Ohuhu sets. We love that. We love savings. There we go. 130, 131, 140, 84, 91, 89, 131. Ugh, everything's all twisted around. There we go. Yes, I was kind of thinking that I probably should have done this before we started, but I didn't, so here we are. I find the swatching process to be a semi-relaxing one, provided that I don't mess anything up. Which often happens. So, is it relaxing? Maybe. It can be. Let's put it that way. We have a good range of blues here. And some of these are probably more green than they are blue when we swatch them, but that's okay. So 78, 74, 77, 83, 92, 82, 82, that's 84, so you can go here. Somebody can count. It's probably not me, but somebody can. 88, and then this one is 80. Nice. Alrighty, so we've got a very good range in the numbers beginning with 8. So that looks good, and we can flip them all so that then they sit nicer, so that we can write their numbers down. Gorgeous. So after the blues, we have purple, pink, brown, grey, grey/black. There's only one black pen. And then we will do our giveaway winners. But 22. Here we go. Yeah, there are a lot of great choices for colours. There's quite a nice range. Because when they said 160 colours, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And there are some that are fairly similar, but they're not so similar that I'm like sad that we have both of them. Like maybe 145 and 70 are quite similar to each other. They're both very kind of punchy fluoro green, but it's not that bad. Alrighty, 22, 74, 77, 78, 80, 82. Where's 81? 81 was here. It totally would have belonged in his little blue family, but it's fine. 83, 84, 85. The nice part is that once we have all of these on the page as well, not something we're going to do today, but once we're all like down on the page, I can then start to use them to actually build out that proper quote quote rainbow order that I like to have in my swatches. Just like makes my soul happy. 86, 87, 88. One of the ones that kind of bothers me, I mean, it's not so much of a bother, but a small amount of irking, right, is that I don't necessarily like it when there's not necessarily an end to a pen collection. So for instance, this has 160 markers. You just get the full set. It's 160. You're done. You can put them in your definitive order. Whereas if you have pen companies that have collections that keep growing, you either have to like re-swatch them all to fit the new ones in so that you can have your set color order, or you just don't put them in a set color order. So you kind of like keep them in their collection swatches rather than in their definitive color order swatch. So for instance, let's say Zig Clean color dot markers, right? They every so often come through and give us a new set, which means that actually putting it in a set specific color order doesn't really work unless you're gonna redo it every single time they come up with a new one. But it's not really the business. It's not what I like to do. Let's see. Yes, the Stationery Pal is on YouTube. Is there supposed to be a separate context for Stationery Pal? The last post on Instagram appears to be the Typhosi. Yes, Typhosi is on Instagram, but Stationery Pal is on YouTube. Whee! I think I technically have a little banner here somewhere for it. Alrighty, here we go. There we go. So the Stationery Pal giveaway. One lucky winner will win a surprise gift from Stationery Pal. To enter, you need to subscribe to Stationery Pal and JashiiCorrin on YouTube and comment on heart. It says with this video. It is not this video. It is the last live stream. But you have to do it before I finish my swatching, which means if you're here on the replay, I'm very sorry. Unless you were the person who won, that's very exciting. Does YouTube have a Rachel? Oh my gosh. Does Rachel have a YouTube channel? No, she does not have a YouTube channel. I mean, she has one that she watches things through, but she doesn't actually make videos for YouTube, which I think is more what you're asking about there, so. Yeah, with the calligraphs, we keep them in sets. Because, no, I can't do a rainbow order for the Monica. They keep coming out with new ones, and I'd have to update it every season. Every season! And it would only be to introduce 5 to 10 new colours each time, but every season! That's a pretty colour. It doesn't match the pen cap as much as I would like it to, but it's still a pretty colour. Alrighty, just make sure that we're still on track. 83, looking cute. One of the things I do also like about the Tombos is that they can only roll so far because they have a, you know, that little extra piece on their cap. This little nubbin, which you can't see because of the thing. See the nubbin? Yeah. So they can only roll so far, whereas the Ohuhus do not have that. So they can roll for days. They just keep on rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. So in our blue range, we have a good range, funnily enough, but we also have some that are like semi-similar. They're distinctly different. Like in person, you can see that they're different, but they are still kind of filling a similar space, if that makes sense. 89. I will say that the nibs of these pins are also quite nice. They come to a very nice fine point, which I assume over time would fray or blunt or whatever, depending on what you're using them on in terms of paper or whatever else. But as they come out of the box, they are very nice. There we go. 131, which is a nice stormy kind of blue. Very pretty. 133, which is kind of like the lighter version of the stormy blue. And 141, which is a bit more bright, which looks very much like 143 or whatever it is from Tombow. Alright, we're not on to colour matching yet, we're just on to swatching. Stay in your lane. Your cat is on your lap. How am I supposed to fold my sheets? Just fold the cat into the sheets, right? No, okay, don't do that. Tink. Yeah, let's see. The greens and the greens, the teals and aquamarines in one of those. Oh my gosh. Do you know how many pens I would have to fill up 160 pages? I don't want to do that kind of math because that would, like, my house would be a pen mausoleum, I swear. So this is looking good so far. We have some. I've actually gone too far with this, haven't I? We've gone too far. I was supposed to just keep it to 16 centimeters so that we had 10 columns total or something like that. I feel like I'm doing my maths completely wrong because we shouldn't need 10 columns. I've totally done this maths wrong. I only need, what's half of 10? 5. Oh my gosh. I only need 5 columns of color, but I was only supposed to go to 16 centimeters rather than 16 and a half. So that's a little unfortunate, but again, it's like, it doesn't matter, it's fine. Like, this is just the back of the journal. It's all good. Alrighty, team, we are into the categories of the purples. Alright, if you're a purple lover, make sure to chuck some purple hearts down because purple may or may not be the best color. Again, it really depends on what you're using it for, but purple's my personal favourite. Alrighty, what containers do you use for your Calios? Ah ha 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 ha. See, Monica, this is why you need to let me buy more pencil cases, she says, just like aggressively on the internet. I'm not actually yelling at you. I'm yelling at you with love and affection. But I don't have a good storage container for my Calios right now because the plastic containers that I use, these ones from Kmart, this is my kneadable eraser, but these guys don't fit the calligraphs, which makes me sad face. I would like to get some better storage. Yeah, purple hearts. We all love purple. Good job, team. Except for those who don't love purple. I mean, like, you know, you're allowed to be wrong. We'll forgive you of this one sin. It's not a sin to not like purple. You're allowed to not like purple, don't worry. Alrighty, hitting back to the low numbers. We've got a 16, looking cute. We've got 158, so also literally the opposite end of our pen colouring spectrum here. We've got an 118. We have a 56 goes here. 52 and 50, you guys go in here. 137. There we go, 137, 54, which probably goes there, and 156. So distinctly less in the purple range compared to other colours. First of all, rude. Okay, it's not that bad. But I do find that purples are usually kind of a colour way that we don't get a lot of different shades in. But that's also the same for red. Like, our red category was also really small, so I'm not calling out purple as being like, oh, he's so hard done by, poor purple, wah. But I do find that we don't necessarily get a very good range in the purple spectrum for most pen brands. You know, looking at you Tombos as well. For instance, if we go and have a look, we're going on a little adventure here. An adventure to the long-term collections channel. So, having a look at my full pen ranges that I have swatched in here, right? So red doesn't even make it to a full column. Like, we've still got one space here. Orange made it to 1 2/3. Yellow made it to 1 1/2. So, you know, it's not bad. It still made it to the 2. Green made it all the way through to here, which is why I ended up putting in more columns, because green was just like, whoop, there it is. And then blue is doing okay, but like we said, we get more greens. Like, greens are typically the one we get more of. Purple only has 1 1/2. So it's kind of sitting on the same space as yellow. Red is still technically more hard done by, but like, whatever. And then pinks, we've got a good 2 columns. Browns, we have 1 1/2, and then grayscale, we have 1 2/3. Then that's all we've got. But I feel like a lot of these greens, we could pull out the teals specifically and had made another one, and I do wish that I had, but I didn't. And the blues, possibly similar, like Splish Splash here could go in the teal, but yeah. If you pull the teals out of here, then the blue and green colorways are probably similar-ish in the number of pens we have, but purple only has 1 1/2. And then red is just like, yeah, okay, shut up. I'm even more hard done by. No me gusta. Poor red. It probably helps that red is a primary color though, so to actually get a lot of variation in your red, it's going to be a little bit harder. Let's see. You're going to have to update those pages now you have new pens. Yes, I am going to have to update them. I'm going to have to put in all of these cheeky boys. And, do I have any other ones that have come recently? Maybe. Possibly. I know that we had a question. Do we have a distraction counter? Yes. 1. Ding! We need to actually have, like, a little number, like, hover card thing that has the distraction counter, I reckon. I just don't know how to do that. Maybe next year, upgrading the live streams to have the distraction counter can be on my list of things to get good at. Get good, scrub. I've been saying that way too often recently, usually in jest, but Vogel and I say it to each other a lot recently. 56, and then 76, 117, a little bit of a jump, 118, and then 132, 137, 156, 158, and 51, because I'm a dense biscuit and just didn't put it in the right place. Doesn't matter. It's okay. But it's a little bit silly. Oh, Cha has a question. Alrighty. Let's go back. Let's scroll back. Okay, so how firm are the tips / nibs compared to the Tombow? Not sure. We can do a little trial run once we're done with this part, but I would say possibly that the end is slightly more flexible. Overall, it is still what I would consider to be a firm nib. It's not like a soft brush nib or anything like that. But I would say that it is comparable, but maybe slightly less firm on the Ohuhus. We'll do a proper... I say a proper test. It's still going to be very subjective. Like, to what I feel is the answer. But... 56... Stupid 51. Yeah, it's all good. You are blue. You are not purple. You are a lie. But that's okay. How do the fine liners compare to the bullet nibs as well? So the fine liners are distinctly fine liners. They are much, much smaller. So they are like completely different kettle of fish kind of a thing. But I guess the more comparable thing would be like, how do the fine liners compare to the Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liners? Or something like that. I haven't done a lot of practice with those ones outside of our little kind of scribble swatching test last week, but here we go. Get in there. Ooh, that's pretty. You're pretty color. 156, and 158, which is a lot more of a blue purple. Still pretty, not as pretty as the last one. And 51, little dunce purple, which is also a very pretty purple, so I suppose you can stay. Alrighty. So, you know the blue is a primary color and it has the second most. Okay, fine, Vicky, you got me. I think that the reason that it has a little bit more, like blue has a bit more, is that you can get into that kind of like green blue range, but still technically be blue. Whereas purple, it's like, if you start headed too close to the next one, it's pink, right? So like you kind of have your pink purples and your red purples, which kind of realm into like burgundy. So it's like, is it a red? Is it a purple? And then you've got the ones that realm into blue. So I feel like maybe it's just my eye holes. My eye holes deceive me. Let's see. We'll put the purple one to the side. Poor baby purples. We love you so much. We love you so much. All right. Put you guys there. And then we need to go grab some pinks. Now, I will say that there is a strong possibility that some of the purples are in the pinks and some of the reds are in the pinks. Because again, I have just done this via cap color, so I make zero promises. Jay, we literally just said that it's going to be drawn after we swatch things. But also, yeah, like fair, you might not have been here. But yeah, we're going to draw winners for giveaways after we finish swatching this color set. And by this color set, I mean the pinks and then the browns and then the grays. Let's see. So, yeah, it's definitely our eye holes. I know, right? Like, it's also, the thing is that on camera, these colors will appear slightly different to how they are in real life too. So, this guy here, 49, he would be kind of like a transition of purple to pink. But he is still technically purple. I think on camera he looks a little bit more pink than he actually is. No, it's all good. Like, hearts and stuff. I'm glad that we could answer your question. So, there we go. Put that there. We need a 10. We need 104. Like, this is kind of more like a beigey kind of color, but I just chucked it in the pink because I'm like, it looks about right. 5. Oh my gosh, this is a lot of pink pens. I feel like I'm gonna need to move you out. Okay, 6. I'm looking for just single digit ones right now so I can put them all at the start. 7, 8, 6 goes here. We're going to try not to have a repeat of what happened with the 50s and actually put them in the right order. So you have 3 digits, so you guys can all get pulled out. 3-digit pens come with me, please. So that then we can just focus on the double-digit ones. 15, 53, 58, 151 gets pulled out. 12, 55, 95, 120 gets pulled out. 138 gets pulled out. 14, 13, and 126. Okay, so just to check so far, because I may have done this wrong. Does it annoy you that the caps might not match the ink of the pen? A little bit, yes, but like, at the same time, often when I come to find a pen color, like after I've done my swatching, often if I go to find a pen color, I'm not looking at the caps, I'll come to my swatches, and that's why I keep my swatches, because I know that I have that kind of issue with the cap colors. And this isn't just like an Ohuhu thing, this is like a lot of pen brand kind of things. I even find that the Tombow, there's a particular color of Tombow, it's Tombow 515, and the pen itself is a really gorgeous bright blue. It's like part of my favorite rainbow kind of color palette. But the pen cap does not give off that vibe. The pen cap looks a lot more subdued, but because I know this, because I've used it enough, I know that when I go looking for that pen, it's going to be that beautiful bright blue that I like. But yes. Alrighty, so we've got lots of nice and low numbers, and then we jump to like the 50s and the 95s. And now we have the triple digits. So 120, 147, 108, 151, 148, 160. Ah, 160. We found you. There we go. Put that one here. Do I have the Staedtler twin tip watercolor brush markers? I do not. I haven't heard of those. They sound fancy though. Let's see. Statler. No, I don't have those ones. The only Statler pens that I really have are either Statler pencils, so not pens, or the Statler Tri-Plus Fineliners. I think those are the only ones that I actually own. Let's see, 138. There we go. So this is the order, looking cute. We need to write down all of these numbers, of which we have quite a range, because pinks just, like, came to play. Now we swatch them and half of them are red, and then red's just like, why you do to me like this? I thought we were friends. But it's okay, Red. It's fine. This is just the trial run, so I can find you with your weird cap colors. Like, 125 is distinctly looking red right now. I don't know if it shows up quite as red on camera for you guys, but in person, that's red. And this is why we try and be prepared for streams, rather than doing this, like, 10 minutes before we're due to start. Alas. Alrighty. Okay, so 4 to start with. 4? Yes, okay. 4. I was like, 51? What? And I was like, yes, no, we covered that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I like it when we get, like, just a chain of numbers. 13, 14, until I swatch them, and then they all look higgledy-piggledy. I'm like, okay, this sucks. 15, and then we have a jump. 15, 53, 55, 58, 95, 104, 108, 120. Okay, so one of the issues that we have in our house at the moment is that Vogel has taken to saying 420 blaze it a lot. Mind you, that is not something that actually happens in our house at all. But now anytime a number ends in 20, it's blaze it. So it's like, oh, what's the time? It's 6:20, blaze it. It's completely not right, but it's becoming a thing, a problematic thing. 126, 138, 147, 148, 151, and then 160. Very unsatisfyingly up the top. Yeah, there's possibility to have a couple browns, a couple beiges in here too. Yeah, I probably should possibly have pulled out the beiges before we started. I need to turn my journal. So when I swatch things like this, when I'm doing them just little lines of color, I still like to pull the pen towards myself, which is why we're on an angle right now, but I think I need to be on a bit more of an angle. We're gonna move my journal over here. Okay, so, and I'll just move my body over here. Creak, says the pen. Okay, that's 4. Hahaha, orange. I mean, it's Carl. That's a pretty color. And some of these, as we're going through, I'm like, oh yeah, I know which Tombow you match. It's all good. 10. Now the tip of this one is a little gross, so we need to mop that up. It's got a little bit of other color on it, which is a little odd. I need to sneeze, but I don't want to deafen you, so I apologize in advance when I do that. Nah, now that I'm talking about it, the sneeze has passed, as is the way. Sad face. You know when you lose a sneeze and you're just left with that very unsatisfying, like, you get the kind of, like, the build up to the sneeze where you're like, okay, I need to sneeze, I can feel it, my nose is ready, and then it just doesn't happen. And then you have that kind of, like, very slow cool off as you fade into the no longer need to sneeze realm, but it feels very unsatisfying. You would rather have just sneezed. Sad face. That's where I'm at the moment. Alright, 115. Just 15 is good. And then we're into 53. I feel like this one might be purple. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you're like the 53 to 49. It's kind of similar. Similar vibes. There we go. Ooh. Dishes are done, yeah. Come back to the sofa and read messages, yeah. Come hang out with us. But also, like, you can do stuff and hang out with us, maybe. I don't know, it really depends on what you need to do. There we go. Peachy, fleshy kind of colour. Very, very pale colour there. I don't know if that is less punchy than I thought it was going to be, but it's quite nice colour anyways. 120 is also quite nice. Just like really just vibing with all the colours today. Good job, colours. Oh, I'm sorry, red. You should have been with the reds. 126. You possibly could have been with the reds, but you're kind of like a burgundy, purplish kind of colour, so maybe not. And then 147, we're looking at, there's our fluoro. Nice. And 148, which is kind of more red-ish. Anywho, 151, which is also kind of more reddish. And then 160. Very pretty. All right. So the box is starting to get a little bit I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't look like it's having the best time with where the pens are because they're all kind of on an angle. But I'm going to grab these ones up, put them in first, you in first. And we'll chuck those ones in as well. You can see if we bring it over. They're all kind of starting to tilt. It really, you can't actually see it from this angle, but they're all kind of starting to tilt downwards because it's just thicker at the top than it is at the bottom, which is a bummer, but I like the rainbow. This is much more satisfying to look at than it was when we first opened the box, where everything was kind of everywhere. Beautiful. Okay, so drink break first because tink, and then we need to do brown. Now, does brown really lead on from pink? No, but it's where I usually put it in my color order. And I figured, like, if you can get the pink to go into, like, the kind of beigey tones, you know, if you start to build into the kind of beigey kind of colors, and then you build into the browns from that direction, it's usually, it looks okay in terms of the rainbow. So, something to think about for my rainbow. Currently, my pinks lead into purples and reds on my Tombow stand. So it's like weird. I kind of like start with orange, and then I go to red, and then I go to pink, then purple, blue, teal, green, yellow, and then yellow leads into brown, and brown leads into grey. So, shrug. Might be that kind of a thing. Let's see. Could you put some of them the other way? Yes. I will probably do that before I close the box up and put it to the side. But for now, we're ignoring that problem. Ha ha ha. So this guy is going to be... I talked about the idea of making like beiges together and doing them first and then doing the other browns. So I might still kind of do that. Like you're kind of like a caramelly kind of brown. You're more of a pinky kind of brown, possibly. I mean, this is all based on cap colors, so I might be full of shit. But at least I'm trying. At least I'm trying. And those guys can go... Oh dear, you don't really belong anywhere nice. I'm going to try this, and I'm not going to put them in number order, because honestly it doesn't really matter, but we're going to see if we can do this with them. Because this doesn't look like the worst order in the world. It's not great, let's put it that way, but... it could be worse. I feel like you kind of belong down here. There we go. Again, just based on cap color, so probably will end up looking completely wrong. Don't roll away, friends. I need to write out the numbers. There we go. Now. There we go. Turn over. Thank you. Play the game, friend. Friendo. Let's see. Yeah, I really should add some of these to my future me problems list, because at the moment I'm kind of in the throes of doing a bit of an office reset. But you know when you want to do a project and you get in your head that you need to plan out the full project before you start, and so you start holding off on things that you realistically could do in the moment because you're like, oh, I haven't really planned the project out yet. That's where I'm at with my office. In my mind, I need to plan more out before I actually start doing stuff, even though there are things that I could be doing in the here and now that would be very kind of peace-inducing, just make my office a more livable, nicer space to be in. But I'm like, no, you haven't planned out the project yet. You need to plan out the project before you do that. But then finding time to plan out the project is a whole nother issue. So, rock hard place, me in my mind. Like, setting up these kind of false requirements for things. I was actually talking to Vogel the other day about the idea of false requirements. I can't remember what it was with relation to. That's supposed to be a 9, don't be fooled. I don't know what it was. It was something though. And he was like, oh, I can't X unless I Y, whatever the requirement was. And I was telling him, like, actually you can. Actually you can do the thing. You've just decided that that is a requirement that needs to be filled in order for whatever it is to happen. But that's not actually a thing that does need to happen. You've just built that up in your mind. It's a false thing. But yeah, so I've kind of done that to myself in terms of my office resetting. It's like, oh no, we need to know exactly where we're going before we start. I'm like, actually you don't. You don't need to know where you're going. As long as you're taking a step that tends in the general direction towards you want to go, that's not a bad thing. That idea of like you can't steer a parked car, So if you actually just get started on something, make sure that you put this in the right place, please, because that last one was quite light. If you get started and then you iterate, kind of a thing, rather than just waiting for perfect. And they tell that story of the people who had to make the art pieces. So it's like, oh yeah, one class is going to get measured on the quantity of work that they put out. So they spent the whole semester doing heaps and heaps of picture taking or pottery making or like whatever it was. And the other class was told, oh yep, you're going to get judged on one piece of work at the end. So they spent the entire semester trying to perfect this one piece that they were working on and spent all of their time just pouring into it. But then at the end of the semester, the ones that had actually done more pieces, the ones that had actually got in and like practiced the skills, they had built more of an understanding of how to do the work better, because each time they did it, they got 1% better. Whereas trying to make that first and only piece perfect. Same idea with other projects. If you actually get started and just get stuck in, you learn as you go, and you're going to make more progress because of it. Is this a pep talk for myself? Absolutely! But will I listen to it? No, I will need to learn this lesson many more times, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with having to relearn things. That's why we forget things, so that we can relearn them. Anywho, after the browns, we are then going to go on to the greys, and then after the greys, we are going to do a giveaway winner. And by that I mean 3 giveaway winners. Right, 94. So. And 45. Looking cute. This didn't work out too terribly. 40 is distinctly not supposed to be here. And 110 is more of a pink than it is a brown, but that's okay. We put all of our caramelly type ones on top, which is not going to fit because of the way these pins are. Oh, I'm going to have to flip them over now. I don't want to do that, but we're going to do it. Okay. There we go. So you can kind of see them all kind of leaning over to the side here because they aren't supposed to all be stacked this way. So I feel like some of them are going to have to get flipped over. I don't want to flip too many of them, but I do probably need to flip like literally half of them. Just so that then they all fit in the box properly. I'm only going to do some. I'm not going to do all of them. Just to see if I can kind of get these guys to sit up the way they're supposed to. This is kind of where the bulk of the problem actually is. Yes, you guys get to just focus on the back of my hand, and absolutely this adds to the distraction counter because This is not why we're actually here. It's okay, I'll probably give up in a second. Don't worry, this won't take so long. Because I'll realize that it's more of a task than we realistically should be doing here together on stream. But, plus, it's very difficult to get the pens out. It's also one of these things, like, it actually doesn't matter if they stay in color order, because I'm just going to end up getting them all out again and re-swatching them later. But it does look very pretty at the moment, doesn't it? Before I have to ruin it. There we go. So, these brown pens can go over to the side. Which we'll just put here, kind of, ish. I'm just going to smack you guys down a little bit. There we go. Oh, don't knock over your cola. That would be a really bad idea. Tink. See, okay, so what I'm thinking, right, with regards to this comment, is that at the moment I have my acrylographs in little color bins where each of the different colors are in a different, like, drawer, yeah? So what I was thinking of doing is once I get rid of my acrylographs, I could put my Ohuhus and my Crayola Super Tips and maybe, I don't know, maybe my Ink Joys or something like that in a different color bin per color. So I'd have like all of my red pens in the same bin, all of my pink ones in the same bin. The only issue is that, like we said, green is one of those colorways that gets a lot of love, whereas other ones maybe don't get quite as much. So I'm not sure if it would actually work out, but it is something I have been toying with. Alrighty, we're gonna put these in this order for no apparent reason. That looks great. And then we'll write them down, and then we will move on. Alrighty, 19 first. 19, 107, 23, 18, 20, 21, and 93. There we go. Yes, distraction counter 2. I'm sorry. I get distracted. I'm easily distracted. That is an interesting color nib. The pen color is very nice. The nib color is like green. It's a little bit odd. Let's see, there was a question. Oh yeah, while you're trying to swatch them. I mean, I could. No. I want to actually store them in color bins though. I think that it would be a cool way to store them. Because it's the thing, it's like I'm gonna get rid of the acrylographs. So I will have those little drawers left over, which means that I could, well, store them in those. Because what I want to do with my office reset that we just kind of started talking about briefly is that I want to change where my filming and, filming and general workstation for doing journaling is. At the moment it's right in front of my monitors, so I can see the monitors while I'm working, which I do like. But the issue is that then I have some kind of restrictions with that. For instance, my microphone sits here, which means that it's really hard to open the little drawers that I have underneath my monitors, which means I would like to possibly tweak things a little bit so that then stuff can actually sit in places that makes more sense. Alright, we're shoving some pens in here, or attempting to at least. No, Brown, why are you like this? Get back in the space you were supposed to be in. No. Okay, there we go. Yay! The pens fit. They don't necessarily sit quite the way that they're supposed to, but they're in there. They are all in there. I feel like I need to just tip this upside down. Ha ha ha. There we go. Beautiful. Alright. Put that to the side. It does not close because I've now, like, bowed out the side of it, but we'll ignore that. That's a future me problem if I ever did see one. Alright. You're going to the side because we have a job to do here. So, let's see. Can we add another distraction and have just do a poll of whether the community likes side quest or distraction counter? Okay, fine. We'll do a poll. We're going to put this to the side. This is your opportunity to have a small break. We are going to do a distraction poll. We are going to draw the winners of our giveaway, and then we're going to continue on with our color matching. Alrighty, let's go see if I can find where that is. Wherefore art thou, stream? Because I have to keep the stream closed to try and improve our quality. I love the ones that say, like, last minute entry. I'm 100% about it. That's excellent. I'm I'm gonna go and give all the little hearts to all the little people who decided to enter while we were here together. Absolutely love it. Okay, I'm already distracted. You can add another one to my distraction count. So we were going to our current live stream so that we could find our distraction poll. Distraction poll? Yeah. So these are the two options, okay? Need to mute myself because I'm annoying. We have the option to call it a distraction counter or a side quest counter, alrighty? So it's completely up to you. Don't really mind either way. Distraction counter, which is what we've traditionally used, or side quest counter. And I'm just going to put in a face because that is the question. In the meantime, I'm also going to pull up our giveaways and figure out how to do our giveaway winning kind of thing. Ooh, I'm getting distracted by the poll already. +6, yeah, I've gotten myself very, very sidetracked. Okay, so we need to do one for Instagram, and we need to do, like, Instagram comment winner picker. Is that like a thing that we can just use? Free Instagram comment picker giveaway tools. WASC. That sounds safe. Enter your post URL. I don't actually have to do it myself. That's great. So let's go check. Because remember, whoever it is that is winning the Instagram one, because we might as well just do the Instagram one first, it's easier. Whoever wins the Instagram one, we've got 2 winners, they need to be following Typhosi. So we need to check with that whether or not they are actually doing the thing. Doing the thing, quote, quote. Like, following the rules. And then I need to do the same idea for the journal one that's on here. How do you do that? Usually to do a giveaway winner, I just copy all of the comments into Excel and do it that way. But I'm feeling like there should be like a nicer way to do things. Let's see, minimum number of mentions. 1? No mentions, doesn't need to have that. 0 mentions. I'm going to show you what I'm doing so that you can see, because otherwise it's just me running my mouth, and that's not fun to listen to. This is what I'm looking at right now. So we've got the sweepstake conditions, number of mentions, they don't need that. Number of winners, there should be 2. Alright, so tiny drum roll to yourself. Let's see. You're giving away our beloved distraction counter. Oh no, I feel like I need to go over here. Does this change the thing? Oh... See, I really like distraction counter. Isn't that the issue? Because, like, to me, yeah, a side quest is, like, an intentional thing. I don't know. I'm conflicted now, because that's the thing, eh? Like, distraction counter is, like, the tried and true. It's classic. It's, like, a thing. And it's, like, ooh, squirrel moment kind of a thing that we've had. Whereas a side quest feels like I know the main quest, but I'm intentionally choosing to go over here. But it was, like... I don't know. Is it different? Je ne sais pas. So this one says number of winners. We're going to find the winners and see if this actually works, because I've never used this thing before. Yeah, magpie moments. That's a great way to think of it. Congratulations. Here are the winners. Okay, tiny drum roll. I don't think we have one of those on here, but let's see if it actually works. According to this, the winners are this person and register to see more. That is so annoying. But congratulations, Sarah and Isabella. Let's go see them and make sure that they've done the thing, because, you know, you have to do the thing, otherwise it's not fair. Alright, checking, waiting for it to load. Alrighty, 7 people following. No, wait, that's people who follow them. They are technically following Typhosi, and they are following Stationary Pal, which wasn't a requirement, but it's like a thing that's happened anyways. Alrighty, so that's one person, and then the other person I can't see, so do we just do it again? I guess. That's really not helpful, is it? Alright, let's try again, and we'll see if it'll give us another one. Enter the post. No, that's the person who won. Alrighty. Let's see if it'll pick us another one. That's so rude, right? I've been done dirty with this. Like, yay! I'm glad that you won the thing. Okay, you need to email me at what's my email address? hello@jashii.com, okay? You need to send me an email to be like, hello, it is I have won the thing. Please endeavor to send me a thing. Alrighty, and then the other one is gonna be, and it's gonna give me the same person again, right? No. Ah, ruined. I'm actually gonna have to pick it myself, and I hate that. Because there are 1,102 comments. I don't really want to have to count that many comments. We're going to have to just copy it across. It's going to be like a whole thing. Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations, Seascape, because that's very exciting for you. What we need to do, though, is figure out how to do the one for, like, YouTube. Can we do that? Is that like a YouTube comment picker thing? YouTube random comment picker giveaway winner. Okay, this one looks a lot more intense. So let's go look at this together and figure out if we can do it. Okay, YouTube comment picker thing. Enter the YouTube video link. Okay, this is already too hard. Need to copy the link and then put it in there. Okay, add comment replies. No, because that's just me. Add duplicate, filter duplicate users. Yeah, sure. Giveaway settings, blah, blah. Show random names? What does that mean? Oh, okay, sure, why not? Duration, 3 seconds. We're going to make it 5 seconds to really, like, amp up the who won kind of thing. Solve sum. Okay, do I have to do math? Is that a plus or a divide? I think it's a plus. I'm going to go with 9. Alright, let's see if it wins. I don't want to join premium. Leave me alone. 80 comments, 100 comments. Well, that's a lot of comments. Okay, that's just going to sit there and do its thing. In the meantime, I'm going to go and see what you guys have done. You've put my distraction counter as 34%. No! That's so sad! Wait, do I actually have to press a thing? Oh, I have to press a thing. My bad. Oh, that's so cute. It's like got little fake names, but also real people. So I don't know about that. Just Some Soup. Yay! Congratulations, Just Some Soup. I'm sure that you're actually following Stationary Pal, and if you're not, oh my gosh, now you probably are. But yeah, send me an email. Let me know that you were the winner. That's awesome. And I will figure out some other way to draw the winner from the Instagram one, because that's just rude. Alrighty. Stop sharing the screen. Love that. Hey, that's you! Yay! I'm glad that you're here. It's so much easier when you guys are actually on the stream with me when you win. Because otherwise, we had somebody win a giveaway once and I could not get them to respond to me. Like, I tried tagging them, I tried calling them out in a video, I tried responding to their comments, and they, like, just would not comment me back to say, oh my god, I want a thing. So they didn't get their thing, and it was really, really bummers. So I'm very glad that you guys are both here, and I'm very glad that you both won. So round of applause. And now we can get back to our regularly scheduled content. Not really. It's just me swatching pens. There's dirt on my journal. Alright. So now we're actually into the part where we get to match the colours, which is kind of funny because it's now an hour and a half in and we're getting to the titled content. Tink. Yes, the Insta contest is still to be picked. We do technically have one more winner for it. I just need to figure out how to actually do it. Side quest distraction related to the main quest. Distraction not related to the main quest. See, that's the thing, right? Like, if it was a side quest, because we've still got the poll going, and if you're here on the replay, this is the question of the day, alright? Write me in the comments, should it be called distraction counter, or should it be called side quest counter? Because the people in the poll, they have said it's side quest, but I want to get you in on the action too. I don't know if I tinked you, but I didn't take a drink, so I'm tinking you again. Tink. So now as we're here where the real video actually starts, where we can actually figure out what our colour names are, and by that I mean colour matches, and I'm just confused. So, let's see. I'm going to pull out the... We're going to go with an easy one first, okay? We're going to go super easy instead, because now how many people just went and unfollowed Stationary Pal? Like, we weren't going to call it out, Jessica, but yes, probably. Because I do exactly the same thing. You guys are not alone. So, we need to try and figure out the colour matches, and I think that we're going to start with... Name. The Zig Clean Colour dot markers, because I have less of them. So it's just going to be easier, okay? So we'll pull all of them out. Our cheeky boy babies. So funnily enough, black matches with black. No shocker there. I mean, I know that technically speaking, and you know, you might understand this, when you have black clothes and then your blacks don't match, and it's just very frustrating because some of them have like a red undertone and some of them have a blue undertone. The worst. But we're just gonna hope and pray, hopes and prayers that the blacks actually match in this case, because as far as pen inks go, I feel like for the most part the water-based ones match for the most part. Yeah, they post too much and you don't need that many notifications. Yeah, that's fair. So we need the Zig Clean colours. They are sitting pretty in a pencil case somewhere. There you are. There you are, cheeky boys. So we're gonna schlumph these guys down. I'm not gonna actually get them out. I'm just gonna keep them in the pencil case because that just seems dangerous. We're gonna put these guys out on a piece of paper, which I've got a bunch of little offcuts here, so that then we can kind of match them against what we've got on the page already. If the team votes side quest, I'm sure that Deb, you get a veto, right? Like, I don't see why Deb wouldn't get a veto. Let's see. I don't know. It's one of those, like, you know the what is it? It's one of the Marvel movies where Nick Fury's like, yes, I recognize that the council has made a decision, but since it's a stupid-ass decision, I've decided to ignore it, or like whatever he says. I feel like anybody whose team distraction counter is sitting there just like, guys, what the heck? Yeah. Prefer side quest because when you get the yuck when you're distracted. Oh, I see. See, I don't mind, I don't have the same, like, negative connotation with a distraction. Often. It really depends. Like, I prefer to use side quests for things that were distinctly productive, but were not the main, like, they weren't the main feature, right? So, when I'm thinking about doing, like, side quests during my work, it's like, oh, hey, I decided to tidy my desk instead of editing the video at the time, if that kind of makes sense. Good question. Why did we swatch this in our everyday journal? It's mainly because this is not the definitive pen order that I would like to use for these. So I want to figure out what the actual kind of rainbow color order that I want to have is before I put it in my long-term collections journal. In this one, we're being just a little bit messy, and I know I have a little bit of extra pages in here. So I don't mind just using a little bit of it up. I feel like I kind of want to do these ones in their color families, but I can't necessarily remember which packets everything came in, apart from the fluoro ones, because they're fluoro, so it's kind of easy to pick them out. Like, those ones are kind of simple, but the rest of them I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I had another fluoro one, but maybe I'm just confused. There is a strong possibility of that. You guys are all of the pastels and the smoky ones because you're only singular ended. Yeah, like video games with extra points is totally where I would kind of go with side questing. But yeah, see, to me a side quest is usually like a productive thing. So it's something that, yes, it did distract me from my main work, but it's not necessarily, not to say that our distractions are a bad thing. So it's like, I'm explaining this incredibly poorly because I'm also trying to pull my colours palettes out of these as well. But I'll just shove all those guys over here because these are the ones that also have a pen nib on the other end along with the dot. So these ones are the ones that have a double-ended kind of situation going on, and then the ones down here are the ones with a single, and then the ones here are the fluoro colours, so they're a little bit different as well. So pastelli, pastelian. I mean, it doesn't super matter because we're really just trying to find a color match here. Okay, so in that case, should we do them in color families? Yes. Okay. We'll start with red because that's a nice easy one to start with. Okay, so this dual-sided guy, his name is, funnily enough, Red. He is what, O2O? Red? I'm not going to write them all out because some of these have really long names. So O2O. And he probably best matches number 2. More than he doesn't match number 1 quite as well because number 1 is a little bit more punchy, whereas number 2 has that kind of like slightly subdued tone to it. Number 3, that's not a bad match, but I think number 2 is a better match. 155 is still a bit too punchy, and 151 isn't right. So I think that my best guess is going to be number 2. I feel like I need to write this down somewhere. Alrighty, I'm gonna write this down as we go, but I'm not gonna write it on here. I'm gonna write it on my Computron so that then we have a kind of digital copy to go with. So we've got the Ohuhu, and we've got the Zig, and then once we've finished that off, we'll do a different one. 020, and the Zig we decided was number 2. Nice. And by that I mean the Ohuhu, and I'm confused. So you're done. Goodbye, red. All goods. Do I have anything else that's even remotely red-ish? You guys kind of look reddish. This one is called Slammin, also known as Salmon. Salmon, and he is number 021. So let's go have a look at that one. Now, nope, it's more pink than that. Then we're into the oranges. We've also got it's similar-ish to 43. 43 is a little bit more bright, a little bit more vibrant, but it's a potential. Let's see. Is there anything in the pink realm? Probably. The shadow realm. No, it's the pink realm. 10 is a pretty good match. And 12 is a pretty good match. 12, 10... 43 is a little too bright, so it's going to be 10 and 12 that it's really between. I feel like I need to put these guys beside each other, but I don't want to get the markers out because I just put them into the box. This is the worst part. I'm going to put them down as ones to check. Okay, so 10 and 12, because we want to get through a good number of these. 10 and 12 are the ones to beat. I think 12 might slightly be better, but I would like to check those. Okay, so 10... and 12, and that is for salmon, which is 021. Okay. That's good to know. So, goodbye pen. We need another red-ish one. We can use, this guy here is Island Coral. Leaf was a live stream, tangent silliness. Leaf, lest we forget. Alrighty, that is 207. This one's kind of more in the orangey kind of tones. Do we have a good color match for you, though? Possibly 57, though the 027 from the Zig is a little bit more saturated. There's nothing down here. Those are all... You're all wrong. You're all wrong. But... I think 57 is probably our closest bet. Maybe... Actually, 25 isn't bad. I think 25 is possibly a better match in terms of saturation level. So we're going to write down 25 for the Ohuhu versus the Island Coral. Island Coral, which I feel like I should show you what I'm writing down so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. Island Coral, we'll bring it up in a second, which was 207. All right. So while I'm going through these to actually do my matching, I wanted to keep something digitally, so it's kind of a bit more transferable, a little bit easier. So I've made myself it's like barely even a file yet, but I've got a little Excel document that I'm working on here. We're going to make it so that you can see that one less big. There we go. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Better? Better. There we go. And we're going to... Where is it? View? Yes, thank you. Freeze pane. Looking cute, so that we'll actually be able to see it when we go to full screen mode. All right, so as we go through, we can type them down in here so that we have our little matches. All right, so that's the Island Coral done. We can put that to the side. Now we need to get into the realm of oranges kind of a thing, and the next orange we have is the Peach Bliss, which is 071, which doesn't have a fine point, so I'm just gonna have to write it down. 071. And this one I feel like, because it's lighter, is going to be a little bit harder to match because there are quite a few different light shades that we could try and match it up with. But none of them look quite right. So far, 102 is a potential. Ooh, 112 looks a bit better, maybe slightly more saturated. 112, because 5 is too saturated. 112. Yeah, I think 112 is better. Alrighty, so that is 112 for the Ohuhus, not 113. Come along, come along. And this was called Peach Bliss, and is number 071. Gorge. Okay, Peach Bliss goes to the side. Next up, we have something, does not matter, yellow. Alright. This guy here is a butter yellow. The problem also is that the harder that you press the Zig Clean color dot markers, the more saturated they are. So really we want a hue match more than we need a saturation match. But, you know, if we can do both, it's always nice. 502. And also it's good to note that we've only done one pass over with each of these pens, and we're only doing one dot with each of the markers, because that's going to be different as well. So this guy is butter, which means he's probably in the yellow category. Ooh, if we can find one. It doesn't seem to be a great match for you. Maybe 32. 32 is the most promising. That's 2 gold. $32 is the best match. It's not a great match. It might be a little bit tricky to see. Let's see if I can show you. I mean, again, colors on camera don't necessarily show up as well as they could, so take it with a grain of salt. But you can see 502 sitting next to the other guy. It's fairly similar, but it's not perfect. On camera, maybe that one looks possibly a little better, but in real person, get out. In real life, it doesn't look as good. So we're going to go with that match instead, which is 32. So 32 and butter. And butter. Butter. We'll put that into our little thing. So 32 and butter, which was 502. Gorge. Okay, so next we're gonna do fluorescent yellow, because I put all my fluoro colors to the side and kind of forgot about them. So this guy, oof, bright. Okay, we don't have one that's quite as bright as that, but we do have a couple of fluoro yellows. This one is called, technically it's called, no, it is actually called fluoro. I was gonna say it's called neon, but no, it's fluoro yellow. This is 110. And this one I think best matches with 141. We do have another fluoro down here, but it doesn't really match in terms of saturation. 144 looks better. Okay, so that's 144 for Ohuhu and 110 for the Zig, which I might just go to writing numbers because I can do that. It's easier. What did we say? 144. Gorge. Did I do that just because I can't spell fluoro? You betcha. But it's alright. As long as I have something there later, it's going to be okay. Okay. Greens? Fluoro green? Fluoro green. This one is 113. 113. So we do have a couple fluoro greens, but the best fluoro green match is definitely 69. The other fluoro greens are a little bit more yellow tinted. This one's a little bit more blue undertones. So we have 69 versus 113. I do think that having these are going to be really helpful, because especially with the Zigs compared to other pens, because the Zigs are kind of they're just a special pen, you know, like you've got other dot markers as well. That was very saturated. Yeah, okay, they both look the same. That's all right. It was just very inky when I first put it out. This one is Kiwi, which I can actually write in its own pen nib, and that is 402. But when it comes to being able to like color in headers or anything like that, or do lettering and stuff, and then also having the dots that I can put down on task lists, it's very nice to have a color match for those two. So the Kiwi one, it's not bad for 72. 72 is a little bit less saturated, a little bit less dark, but the rest of them aren't great. 73 is possible, but not as good. I think that actually speaking, like hue-wise, if we're talking about hue, it's gonna be 73. We're talking about saturation, it's more like 72. But I'm gonna go with 73, and I'm gonna put a little asterisk to say, like, not a good match. So 73 and 402, but with an asterisk because it's not really perfect. You were rejected for the A&O library sub box. Because he doesn't really fit. Okay, there we go. I was like, wait, what? Tink. I like totally missed the start of that conversation. Alright, green, green, green. I feel like I just want to put a whole bunch of dots out to start with. So you are 408 and you are 403. I just don't want to get confused between them when I'm working on them. And you are more of like a sea foamy kind of color. Which one are you? Ocean. 042. Which is less saturated than the cap would kind of lead you to believe, but it's cool. It's still nice. And this one here is just green, and it's 040. Okay, we'll do all of those ones together. 040. So starting with our 403. Wait, I wrote 402 for that one. It should be 408. Yeah? 408. Asterisks. There we go, that looks better. Or at least I've written 408 down here. Now I feel like I need to check. You know, it's 408. Okay, we're good. We're good. Don't worry. Don't worry. How about 98 for 402? 98. 90. Wait a second. It is 402 and I've just gone and confused myself. No, I'm foolish. Please ignore me. Please ignore me. I'm getting confused. Alrighty, so for 408, 98. Wait, 98. I need to find it because these aren't in number. Okay, kiwi. Okay, yeah, it's not bad. I think that the kiwi is a little bit more green. Let's see, the ones that I was playing with was 98 versus 73. 98, 73. I kind of like them both. I'm going to put down both of them. Because, yeah, 98 actually isn't a bad match. You are right. 402. It's, like, not a perfect match for either of them, but it still looks... It looks a little bit better. Looks a little bit close. Okay, so 408 is the new one that we're playing with, and this one's more of a kind of subdued, mossy kind of green. I need to make sure that I'm not getting myself distracted, but I already am. Because 403 matches 135 really nicely. So we're going to put those ones down before I forget it. 403. Okay, 403 is done. Leave him alone. 408. 408 is kind of... They're both very nice subdued greens, but this one's more of a kind of slightly blue tinged one, but it doesn't have a great match because the one that's kind of matching in terms of hue would probably be 122, but 122 is a lot more saturated, so it doesn't really work as well as it could. I might even just put it up here just to check. No, he doesn't match any in the tealy realm either. That's a bit of a bummer. Okay, so I'm going to say that maybe 408 does not have a great match. So we'll just do 408 and we'll be like, NA. Doesn't have a great match. Sad. Sad. And then number 40. 40 matches quite nicely with 64. Is there any other colours that it matches well with? No, you're too green. You are much more subdued, so not you. Ding 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 ding. Nope. Ding 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 ding. Nope, you're too blue. Alrighty, 64 it is. Love that. 64 and 040. Yeah? There we go. And the reason that it's got this little thing here is just because I needed to put it in as text rather than a number, otherwise it'll just say 40, and it's not number 40, it is 040. Okay, 42. We can put that one in. Maybe, if we can find a match for him. So far, not great. Alright, 121 is a potential. It's not quite as saturated, but it's the right colour, yeah? And then 65 is looking pretty good as well. I think 65 looks a little better, so we'll put 65. And up top, none of those match quite as well, so 65 it is. And this one was 042. Nice. Alright, so those are our greens mostly done. We've got a blue-green here that we can put in though. This one is the pale turquoise, which is 407. We'll put that to the side. Okay, 407. You are the best so far. You're not great though. You are the best, but you are not good. 21 is not bad. That one looks a little better. Ooh, that doesn't look too bad at all. Alrighty, I'm thinking that 134 is a good match for that. Nice. 134, and that is number 407. Excellent. I feel like okay, in my mind, this was gonna take longer. Like, obviously this part took a while, you know, putting things in order, but the actual matching of the colors I thought was gonna take longer. This is actually, we're making fairly good time. All right, I'm gonna put the colors down and then we're gonna write out what the color numbers are. So I just need to make sure I put them down in the same order that I swatch them onto the page. Do you have the full set of dot markers? I believe I do, unless they've come out with more since I got these ones. But I don't believe that they've come out with more since I got these ones. Okay. So, going to Team Blue, we have 302. We have 036. So the last set they came out with, I believe, was the mild smoky. So I think that if that's the last set they actually came out with, then I do have all of them, I believe. 032. So I haven't gotten out the metallic ones to swatch here because none of these pens are metallic, so I didn't see much point. But we can have a little look at them, maybe, once we've done these ones though. 031, which is Splash, beautiful. And then we have the denim color one, 034. And then the light blue, which is kind of the like fluoro-esque one in theory, is 131. Gorge. So, yeah, the dot markers are actually excellent. I was kind of skeptical when I first got them. I was like, oh, you know, how good can they actually be? Like, this doesn't really seem like a necessary purchase kind of a thing. But since I've used them, I have used them every single month in my journal. So I'm just like, well, obviously, I didn't know what the heck I was talking about because these are the bee's knees. They're excellent. So, last one we did was 407. So we've done that one. I feel like I need to put like little ticks so I can say like, yes, you've done those ones. So the next one here is the 302, which is that pale blue color. 302. Okay, so far you're the best, but we could probably do better. Maybe? I don't know. You are the palest of the icy blues, even though you're not a perfect match. Everybody else is too saturated, so I guess it's gonna be you. So 119 versus 302. Love it. Love it. Let's see. 36. That one's a bright blue. But then we've also got 131, which is a bright blue. So it's like, which bright blue matches which of the blues better? They're very similar blues. I need another piece of paper. This is suspicious. I'm suspicious. Okay, so that's you and you. So these are our two blues that look very similar to each other. So that guy is here. And then this guy is beside him. Do they look like the same to you guys? I don't know. They look very similar to me. To the extent of like, did I need both of these? I don't know. Let's see. Do you really need dot markers if you don't even have the Crayolas? I mean, I barely use the Crayolas. I very often use my dot markers. It really depends on how you like to do things, though. I personally like them. Excuse me. I personally use these guys a lot because I use them to put in things like events, and I use them to put in things like calendar, what's the thing, like date covers and stuff like that. They're great. But yeah, I do still quite enjoy them now as I have them. But these two, they look like the same color, so they can probably get matched the same thing. So you match quite well with this one, but you also match fairly well with that one. I think that you match better with 89 than you do 141. It really just depends on level of saturation, because I think that 89 and 141 are both really similar. So I'm gonna put down 89, but I might make a note. So what do we say? That you are 036, and that you are 131, and you're 89. But then we also said that probably 141 also matches quite well too. So, yeah. For the question regarding the triangles are just there because I've put those numbers in as text. Because if I write in 036 here, say 036, it comes up as just 36, but that's not pen number 36. The pen number is 036. So I have to put in the little apostrophe first and then write 036, so it actually comes up as text. So that little box there, if we hover over it, it says like, hey, this number is like stored as text instead of being a number. So it thinks it's an error, but it's not. So we delete that. But yes. Alrighty, so those ones are done. We need to continue on because we've done the bright ones. We need to do denim. That's 032, which matches fairly well to to 130. That's not denim. Get out of here. Denim is 034, but that matches really well to that one. But it also matches quite nicely to that one. But it matches quite well to that one too. That's the thing. You can technically have multiple matchups, but you shouldn't match up to as many pen colors as you do match up to though, friend. So I think that 034 is one that I'm going to have to check out with some other different colored pens. Like I'm actually going to have to pull these pens out and do some more swatching with them. But 130 is a good match for 032. Yeah. Scrolling. Yeah, I like to use them for trackers as well and stuff. So like if we go, we have a little flip back, distraction counter, but it's fine. So I use them on my trackers to like highlight over numbers. This is in pale gray. I also use them on these trackers to say like a day I didn't do something or did do something or did like my high bar of something. It's a little key on the side here. But yeah, they are, along with Tombos, they are one of my most used pens. So I very much like them. But again, really depends on how you like to do your journaling. But I think they're great. So 034. I think that you match 150 not the least good, but you match 22 and 131 quite well. 131 and 22, we said, yeah? And you are 034, but they probably need to be checked to find like the definitive matching. But at this stage, from first glance, they're looking pretty good. Are they just the 12 colors? Are you talking about the dot markers? There is a 12 pack of the dot markers, but there are multiple packs. Tink. So there's like a 12 pack, and then there's the 6 pack. Those are like the kind of base ones. And the 6 pack comes with like black, red, green, blue, maybe a pink or something like that. The 12 pack then expands your colors out. It has like a yellow, a brown, a grey, some other stuff. You've also then got the fluoro pack, which has, I think, 5, maybe 6 or something. I think it's 5 that come in the fluoro colors. And then you've got the mild smoky ones. You know, I do actually have a swatch of these, funnily enough. We could literally just look at them. So these are the Zig Clean Color dot markers, and these are the packs that they come in. So you can see that the 12 pack here has kind of like a little rainbow. It's got like a grey, it's got some pinks, some blues, green, that kind of stuff. Your basic pack is just very set standard kind of colors. The kind of stuff that you would expect if you got a pack of, whiteboard markers. You've got the mild pack, which is all of your pastel kind of tones. And then you've got the metallic metallic pack that we haven't got out at the moment. Mild smoky, which is probably one of my favorites. And then the highlighter plaque. What am I doing? What are words? Plaque. But light platinum, this is a good color. I quite like light platinum. I don't really use any of the fluoros, but I do like the light platinum. I do believe that Stationery Pal has all of them. I got all of mine from Stationery Pal. So they might not necessarily be in stock right now, but I got all of mine from there. Yes, Ohuhu does also have dot markers. I have not personally tried them, so I don't know. But yeah, the 6 blue dots you held up are 2 different Zigs. Yes, they are all different Zigs, but the 2 that we had from before are 2 separate ones. So you see like 036 and 131, they look super similar, but they are technically different pens. So I was kind of like, suspicious. Anywho, moving on. So where were we? We did 034, we have done what's 131? Did I write that down wrong? Oh, it's like right there. Come on, Jess, you can read. I can't read. 301, we have not done. 301. Because you're kind of like a purple tone blue. You're not too dissimilar from 56. But you are a little bit more blue. But you're not that blue. I think the 56 is probably your closest friend. Alrighty, so 56 and 301. 56 and 301. Those guys are friends. Nice. Let's see. Have we done all of the blues? I believe we have. Yes, because we've got 32 up there, and we've got 34 already, and we've got 301. Alrighty, moving on to the purple-esque range. And we'll just grab out some. We'll just put them down on our paper. You're a purple. You're a purple. You're a purple. You're kind of a pink purple, so we'll chuck you on as well. Oh, no, purple. There we go. Purple. Pinkish. And then fluoro pink. And then other bright pink. We're just going to put them all in order and work our way through them. There we go. That looks cute. I totally missed my favorite yellow, but it's fine. We'll get to that. We'll do this set that we have here first, and then we'll do the next set, but we might need more paper. So this guy is number 805. This is Wisteria. 805, which is kind of quite a subdued purple, but it's pretty. We've got this one, which is the Hyacinth, which is 081. There we go. And the nice part about doing it on this little separate piece of paper is that I can now use this alongside other swatches to go find colour matches. Haha, look at us planning ahead. So smart. Thus is Violet 080. Which is that kind of more punchy purple. Beautiful. We have the English Lavender. This one's one of my favourite of the paler purples. 803. And then we're into the realm of pink. So this guy is called Pink, funnily enough. 025. This one is our fluoro pink, which is 1, 1, 2. My numbers are getting a little skew with cattywampus here, but that's okay because this is just for the purposes of doing this. It's not actually something we're keeping. We've got candy pink, which is 206. And then baby pink, which is 026, which isn't confusing at all. And then this guy here, which is pale rose, which is also quite a nice color. This one's in the mild smoky. The mild smoky is my favorite set though, so that kind of makes sense. It's this odd thing that, typically speaking, when it comes to colors, color palettes, all of that kind of stuff, I don't really tend towards more subdued colors, but when it comes to the dot markers, I do like them to be more subdued. So, shrug. The appeal of brands other than Zig is that they're literally half the price. Yes, completely fair. Dink. And the dots on the Ohuhu markers were small. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't used them myself, so I can't really vouch for anything other than the Zigs. I quite like the Zigs, so something to put on the Christmas wish list or whatnot, if you guys do that kind of thing. Alrighty, 805 is the kind of subdued purple tone. Which means it might be a little bit tricky to find a color match for it because it's one of those ones that's like, are you a grey or are you a purple? Doesn't match 137 because that's a little bit too saturated. Alright. Finding purple matches is tricky. Nope. Which again probably comes back to the fact that they neglect them. Okay, we cannot find a good color match for 805. So that one's going to have to go into the sheet with no friend. 805. Sad. Alright, then we're on to 081, which I believe was like hyacinth or something like that. Which is not bad for 137, except it's 137 is nowhere near as saturated. New, so far it's a new. Oh dear. I'm not feeling very optimistic here. Really? There's none? Yeah, 137 is probably the closest bet, but it's not a great match. So I'm going to write it down, but I'm not going to be happy about it. Okay, so 137 versus, what do we say? 081, but we're going to put an asterisk on it because it doesn't really match. There we go. Do the zigs bleed through the 160 GSM paper? No, they do not. No bleeds, no ghosting. As if it's blending, it's invisible, but then there are pens. Yeah, we don't get any bleed through unless you do something like... I found the only instance where I've ever gotten any kind of ghosting with them is when I've written with them rather than dotted them. And when I say that, I don't mean writing with the fine end, like this guy here, which you can see. I mean using the dot end to write with. I don't know if I can recreate that, but let's see. I, in particular, was using oatmeal the other day, which is not typically the way that people would use these, because they are kind of inconsistent with their coloring. But when I did it like this, I found that I got some ghosting / bleed through on the other side. But typically, you don't do that, so it's not really an issue, you know? 137 matches with 805 better. All right, 805. Oh, wait, 805 is the... Wait, who's 805? That guy. 137, you reckon? I just need to find 137 now. 137. No, it doesn't though. Like, it might on camera, but in person, this guy is a lot more muted. He's kind of more grey tone than this guy is. Whereas 081, the zig is more saturated, but it's the right hue. if that makes sense. Like, it's kind of hard to explain, but the hue matching of 805 and 137, at least with my pens, it's not quite right. So I'm going to put it down as an NA still, because it still doesn't quite work. And then this guy is not a great match, but at least it's like the same kind of hue, I suppose. Now we're into the purple, and you'd think it would match the other purple, but it's still not great. Let's see. You kind of match this guy. Not so well, but like kind of. But I don't think you really match that one. That one's a lot more vibrant. I'm going to put you down for 16. But I feel like I just need this closer to my face. Excuse me while I steal my journal so I can get up close and personal with this guy. Maybe. No, I still think I like the 16 with it better. I'm going to put it down for both, and I'm going to put an asterisk for both, because I feel like it's one of those things that it might be a little bit easier to test it if it's like right next to each other actually on the paper, which is why some of these have asterisks. This is kind of like the first run through to see if we can get it to work. But what did we just say? We said 080 asterisks. We'll do the same thing again, and that was with 16. Not a perfect match, but a potential match. Yeah, you may need the rest of the zigs. Maybe Santa will bring them. Maybe, fingers crossed. Yeah, I like them. They're good. Alrighty. 803, which is that kind of lavender kind of color. That is too blue. That is not right. No. You match 52 fairly well. 52 might be a little bit more saturated. Am I just getting too picky? Probably. I am a bit of a persnickety biscuit. Yeah. 080 looks like a slightly more grey. Let's see. Which one am I looking at? Yeah, 156. It does look a little bit slightly more muted. That's like, this guy is very much like a kind of Cadbury purple, and this one's a little bit more like a Wonka purple. Yes, those are the descriptors I'm going with. But then this one, it looks a little bit darker than. So I think that the 16 is possibly a slightly better match, but when you get really close to it. Anyways, 803, I think best match is 52 at this stage, because the other ones, like if we go to the blue zone, doesn't really match any in the blue zone. So 52 is probably our best bet. It's not the best, but it's good enough that I'm not going to put an asterisk next to it. Let's put it that way. So that was 803, looking cute. Yeah, Cadbury purple versus Wonka purple. So, we're on to the pink. So now we are on to 025, which is straight up just called pink, which is very descriptive. And there's a lot of pinks in this range that look very similar to each other, at least in person, maybe not so much on camera. But like 10, 11, 12, well, 10 and 12 in particular look very similar to each other. But that was like a previous us problem when we were looking at like coral. So 025 is not a bad match for 15. Maybe needs a little bit more pink, like blue undertone to it. So maybe I think it matches 15 better than it matches 55. Where are other pinks like you? This is kind of the zone we're supposed to be in. That doesn't work. I'm going to go with 15. 15 is probably the best match for that, because if you start to go into the purples, it doesn't quite work anymore. So 15 versus 025. That looks good. And then fluoro pink. Highlighter pink. We don't actually have anything that's quite as punchy as the zig. Where are the pinks? You're a pink, but you're like a fluoro red more than anything else. You're a fluoro pink, but you are a lot lighter than the zig. The zig is very bright. as far as the fluorescent kind of colors go. So I don't think we actually have a very good fluoro matchup in the Ohuhu markers for this level of fluoro. So I'm probably going to put him down by himself. 112, no applicable match. Probably put that in the correct space would probably be a good idea. I'm glad that people are showing love and appreciation for the dot markers. They're a worthwhile purchase, IMO. Alright, just by chance, we have found a fairly good matchup for number 206, which is number 14. I think that's a better matchup than the guy down the bottom, so that looks pretty cute. Just check him against other ones. Yep, I would agree. Okay, so 206 versus, what did we say, 14? Nice. And then we got onto the rose kind of colors, which one of them is like a pale rose and the other one is just like a pastelish kind of pinky kind of color, which are again very similar to each other, but they are technically different. I think that 206, just check up here, make sure it doesn't match any of these ones. I feel like I need to get my paper out again and do the little abs to try and check them against each other because they still look very similar. So what did we say that was? That was 206 and 201. So that's baby pink versus pale rose. Okay, so pale rose first. Pale rose, little abs, and then I don't know, can you guys see the difference here? Like, they are quite similar. Like, maybe we've got a slightly more saturation on the first one. Maybe a slightly more red undertone to it, but it's they're very comparable to each other. Like, I would very easily accidentally pick up the wrong color here and use it in my journal, I reckon. But yeah, I think that when you get them further away, they kind of look a little bit different, a little more different. Might have also been a different type of pressure, but oh well, put those to the side. So 206, I think, matches 138 quite well. So we'll put that down. Oh, just checking. Yeah, I think you do. 206 and 138. Did I say 206? Or did I say 026? I get myself confused. 026. It doesn't help that the one above it is literally 206. Wah wah. And then 201. We'll take a scroll down approach. It's just a little easier. But given the fact that these are both such a similar color, I feel like they're just going to end up being a fairly similar match for the same thing. But that's weird because 206 looks quite similar to 138, but then 201 does not look as similar. So maybe not. .105 looks similar-ish, but not quite. I'm going to say that 201 doesn't really have the best matchup, which is odd because we just talked about how similar they were to each other, like 201 versus 026, but he doesn't look the same as 138, so I'm going to put him down as a maybe not. As said, this is just the first attempt of this, so I might change my mind. There might come a time where I've decided that it is different, but now we have the mix of the grey pens and also just a higgle-piggledy bunch of other stuff that I forgot to include as we went through. So we're going to pull out the weird ones that shouldn't be where I'm putting them first. So that's Fluoro Orange, which is 111, which really should have gone with the oranges, but it didn't. And then the yellow, which is my favorite yellow, like, of the colors they could have given us for yellow. This one is a good one. This one's called Summer Sun, and it is 503, and it is probably, like, strangely my most used dot marker, outside of the pale grey one that I like to use. which is odd to me because often I don't really consider yellow to be like a favorite color. You know, it's one that I'll use, but it's not one that I typically associate as being like, yep, this is the business, the bee's knees. Alrighty, you are oatmeal. You are 602. And you are fawn. You are 064. You are a brown-ish color. Then we have the greys and the blacks. We'll put those on here as well. I mean, there's one black. There's not multiple blacks in the dot markers. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have enough space on here. So you are 0, 1, 0. So we had just enough space for you. And then our greys we have... I'll just put all the dots down first and then we'll write them in. Dot, dot, and dot. Okay, this one is platinum, which is 091. We then have the light platinum, which is the one that I probably actually use the most, 902. And then this one is the grayish green, which is 409. Which is quite a nice color. I don't typically find myself using it because it's not what I would consider to be a neutral green, because it does have that green, neutral gray, because it does have the green undertone. I don't often use it with my color palettes. Usually I'll go for something just a little bit more plain in terms of my grays, something that doesn't really have a lot of other color tinted with it. But it is there and it is cute. So I'm going first with the fluorescent orange. I guess the best match would probably be the other fluoro. Kind of makes sense. So that's 142 versus what we said, 111. 111. Then we're into the beautiful yellow. Love it. All right. So that is 503. Does it have a good yellow matchup with the Ohuhus though? So far not good. Maybe we might need to realm into the orangey kind of colors. You're too orange. You guys are all too orange. Yeah, I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna go with no. Not a good match for our dot markers. 053. There we go. And then we're into the brown ones. So this is oatmeal, which is 602. And I feel like I'm going to need to check the browns and the yellows for this. So far it's you, but you're not great. No. Let's see. No. It's a no. That's the thing. Brown is another one of those colors that you can get quite a big range in. Like, you can. But then actually finding matches across pen brands, not the easiest. Because I don't think we have a good match for this one at all. What about 31? 31 for that bright yellow? It's like probably the closest. It's not great. We'll put it down as an asterisk. 31. So 503 asterisk. It's the best one that we've got. Good job with your eyes. Proud of you. Because this is the thing that, like, yes, we tried to kind of put them into their color families and whatnot, but because they're not perfect, it's very hard to find the matchups, especially when, like, your pinks go across multiple places. So I'm glad that your eyes are on. It's probably a better matchup than I give it credit for. Fine. We'll write down 503. There we go. No, we won't write that. We're at 5003. Let's see. And the oranges for oatmeal. Let's go have a hunt. Okay, so oatmeal being 602 here. Orange kind of starts here. 26 is too saturated. That's the wrong color. We're looking at the wrong thing here. This is the issue that I have, is that I start looking at other colors. There we go. We hide this with the other piece of paper. Okay, so 28 isn't terrible, but it's really not good. New New, you're pink. New, not quite. And then these are all not quite right. That one's the closest that we've found so far, but it's still more of a yellow tone in the Ohuhu than it is in this guy. What's this? Zig. Ziggy boy. Ziggy boy. And then nothing in the middle looks quite right. We go to the pink kind of tones. Those are all too red. 128 isn't the worst, but the 128 is a lot more red than the oatmeal is. Like, in terms of saturation level. My patience level is astounding. It's one of those things that I know it's going to be super useful once I've actually got it written out as a log, so I don't really mind taking a little bit of time to do it. Also, I'm hanging out with you fine folks, so that's always a good time. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna say that 602, realistically it doesn't actually have a good match, so I'm just gonna put it down as a no match. 602 NA. The next one though, which is that fawn color, that one I think we will find a little bit more luck in the oranges. So 28, not bad. Maybe a little bit brighter with the Ohuhu. But that looks like the best one for that little section. Does the little piece of paper help? It's helping me. And then if we zip over here, we're kind of looking for like a subdued terracotta almost. I mean, I know it's called fawn, but no, that one's not quite right. I think the 28 is still too bright, but it's still better looking than some. Number 5 isn't bad, but 5 is also, again, a bit brighter. It's kind of like more of a coral than it is. Coral! There we go. Yeah, secretly I already know the matches. I was tempted to try and figure out the matches ahead of time so I could just kind of show you and give them to you, but alas, no. I did not end up doing that. I had a really good weekend, but also quite a busy weekend. We went for high tea on Sunday, which was quite nice. 039 isn't a bad match. I think that's kind of like a closer one. It's not great, but it's not bad. I'm going to put you down. What did we say? 039. No, because I can't read. 139 versus 064. But we ended up doing a whole bunch of decluttering yesterday, and that took a long time. 111. Where is 111? This is where I wish I had to put them in order. The 111 is more red, but I can see where you would have gotten that, because I think on camera it looks a lot more similar. 128 is here. Yeah, that one's also kind of similar, but this guy, in actuality, is more like bright. So he's kind of like, if you mixed those two together, the 128 and the 139, you would get a really nice matchup. But I think that it would end up being more of the 139, even though it doesn't necessarily look perfect. But yeah. Alrighty, now we're into the greys, which is always a problem, because you just have like different undertones in your greys that mean that they're like slightly different to each other. But if we had to hazard a guess, okay, first of all, let's just take this guy out. Do we have any greys in the other realm of things? Maybe like the 133 could be a contender for a grey. It's more like a stormy blue kind of thing, but everywhere else looks like it's not super grey, so it should be alright. Thankfully we don't have any real blue greys though, so we don't really need to fuss over that kind of stuff. So really we're in this realm. Nice part is 93 and 101 they match. 010 versus, what do we say? 93. Okay, so it's black and black. Makes sense. My theory is that grey isn't even a real colour. Fair. Tink. I think that of the greens that we have, because 409 is a grey green, this guy here, we're gonna put like that. 409. I think that it has a fairly okay matchup with 19. 19 just being a little bit darker. But if we come over to the other grey-green kind of colours, then 122 isn't bad, but 122 in the Ohuhus is a bit more saturated in terms of green. It's also a little bit darker. Let's see. Those ones are all like super teal, so that doesn't really count. And then these ones are all too dark, so that's a no. So I think that the 19 isn't bad, but it's not great. It's still a little too dark. So I'm going to go with 409 doesn't really have a friend. We'll put 409 down as an NA. Which I'm not typing in there at all. Where am I typing? 409. What do we say? And NA. There we go. Nothing. It has nothing. So on to 902. 902. And 091. Neither of those seem to have a very good match because all of these greys are not desaturated. Like, those ones are all quite blue greys, and none of these are blue greys. Maybe the 18? No, not even really that. And those ones don't really work out either. So, our greys don't actually have any good matches, which is a bit of a bummer. Because, you know, it's nice to have matches. 091 and 902. Okay. So, we have got colour matches-ish for our Ziggy boys from our Ohuhu ones, but we did have some that didn't have a great friend. So 408, which is that kind of subdued green, that one didn't have a good friend. Just to check. Making sure. No, you're too bright. No, you're too saturated. Nothing over in the greens, the greys, no. Okay, so 408 didn't have one. We also had 805, which we zoop down, which is again the subdued colour, which is like, maybe it's just because the Ohuhus aren't into subdued colours. They're just like, no, punchy colours, love that. We've got none that really match up with that. Yeah, those purples aren't quite right. Then we had 112, which is that fluoro pink, and we didn't have anything in our pinks that was the kind of the right level of aggression in terms of the fluoros. The closest match is probably this one, but you can possibly see on camera the Zig is just much more punchy with its fluoro. We'll put it down as a poor match though. It can be a poor match, but technically it is in the same color family. 147 and 112 asterisks. That says 8. We need an asterisk. Thank you. And then other ones that did not match, we didn't have one for 201, which is again that kind of subdued pink color, which, yeah, it kind of matched with the one that we lined up with for the other one, which was, what did we say? I can't remember. 138, wherever 138 is. There we go. I found it. But it didn't line up as well for that one. Alright, that's not too bad though. Like, for all of the pens that we have, you like, considering this is my biggest set of pens, right? Like, the Ohuhus are the biggest set that I have with 160 colours. To get the majority of them matching up is pretty good. I think that the only thing I'm probably a little bit sad about is that we don't seem to have any real colour matches in the grey realm, really, which is honestly a pain point for me when it comes to the Tombos as well. Because oftentimes my favourite Tombos to use are like N89 or N95. They're both very, very nice light greys, and I would prefer to have a colour match that worked quite nicely with the light platinum in particular, but even the light platinum isn't light enough, so oh well, rude. Let's see. I really want to do this colour matching with my Tombos as well. I'd probably expand the colour range out and list out every single number of Ohuhu, and then try and colour match as many as I could with the Tombos. but I think that's going to be a future me problem. I'm pleased. If you want to see us do more colour matching for these guys, so the Ohuhus and the Zig, against other pen brands, one, I would love to know which pen brands you want me to switch against, but also two, make sure that you like the video, to cast your vote, to say, yes, we need more colour matching, this is a real problem area in my life. I am going to go pick up my groceries though, adulting is fun, and I will see you next week. This live stream for next week is going to be voted on by the team with a capital T, Whoopa. So if you're part of the team with a capital T, you make sure that you let me know what you want to see in our upcoming poll. For now though, goodbye gorgeous humans, have a fabulous rest of your day, and I'm going to go put away all of my pens. Bye!